The following interview from March 18, 2009 features Montford Point Marine Calvin T. Curtis Sr. He tells the story of how he and his twin brother Clarence Curtis became Marines during World War II, shortly after the Marines started to allow African Americans to serve in the Corps. The Marines only allowed African Americans to serve in segregated units during the war, and there were no African American Marine Corps officers until after World War II. In the interview, Calvin Curtis recounts his early experiences as a Marine and his time stationed in Hawaii towards the end of the war, including how he and his fellow Marines learned about Hiroshima. In the latter part of the interview, Calvin Curtis mentions Herbert L. Brewer, a fellow Montford Point Marine, who after World War II became a Marine Corps officer and a full colonel. And I just wanted to get some of the words that you were saying the other night about Montford Point after reading those two books on Montford Point.
Or going to the Marines.
Yeah. Well, what part of it, okay, when you read those two books about Montford Point Marines, what part of the story jumped out at you?
Well, where they treat you when you went there, also where the civilians treat you, people.
What civilians? In the town?
In the town, say, like we got a ticket, and you got a railroad ticket, say you could eat. Then they didn't follow up like they do now, give a ticket all the way. They just gave a ticket to a certain point, like from San Antonio, New Orleans, and New Orleans, Atlanta, the place in South Carolina, I forgot much.
Because originally you were taking a train from San Antonio to the training base in North Carolina?
Yeah, Jacksonville.
Jacksonville, North Carolina, okay.
Jacksonville was, then you're supposed to catch a bus from there on to Montford Point.
So where in the trip did you start having problems? Like right off the bat in San Antonio?
No, we had started having trouble. We had a plane ticket from
train ticket.
Train ticket from there. North was coach.
Right.
We slept all night on the coach, and then New Orleans we supposed to change planes and renew the ticket, and they wouldn't give us no sleeping car on the plane. And then we had to wait, and then to eat, you had to. We didn't know to go outside the station because we didn't know where to go. And you're supposed to eat right there at the station, but they was feeding all the white people first, and you was the last one.
So there were a bunch of white Marine recruits coming.
No, different people, different. You didn't know where they were. It was white people.
Okay. Men
and women. You didn't know where they was going in the service, just like me. I was civilian.
Right.
But I had to pass.
Right.
And then they didn't give us a ticket, and then when we got to another South Carolina, we had a layover, and then we had to get something to eat. We had to go down to colored place, get something to eat. And they wouldn't take our, they didn't take no tickets, meal tickets. So they said they're going to give us the money the meal ticket when we got to our base. Got to our base, you just wrote your name, we'll see you later. That later never did arrive. And then they fed us, and the next day you're supposed to get clothes.
This is after you processed into the Marines?
Yeah, processing took a long time because one guy, had a zoot suit, and they beat him up because he didn't want to obey nobody.
So this is like the sergeants who beat him up?
Private or PFC. We didn't know no difference then.
Right.
Wasn't no sergeant. And but all during the boot camp, he never did question nobody. He did whatever he told him to do.
So he had some attitude, and they beat the living daylights out of him.
Yeah, the first night he didn't have no attitude after that. And then getting in camp with my brother and I, we gonna be in different platoon. They put us in different platoon, and we classed ourselves as first cousin.
Right. To get in the same platoon?
No, because people didn't believe we were twins. Didn't look alike. And so he got in one platoon, I got in another one. And that's how they started. Like the Marines, they go from one platoon on up. So I was 264. He was 265.
So hold on. Was it common for brothers to go into the same platoon or the same unit?
No, they didn't make no difference. Wasn't no common. Because there wasn't too many brothers at that time.
Right.
It just happened They picked us like that.
So let's go back before you got on the train. Did you volunteer for the Marines, or did you get drafted?
Drafted in the Marines at Fort Sam Houston. What they call it? What's it called? You had to go through boot camp and then get processed. You had to pass the test,
Right.
Medical test,
Right.
physical test.
Hold on, they call everybody to Fort Sam.
Yeah.
You go through some processing.
Yeah.
Then they said, you're going to Marines, you're going Navy, or whatever.
Well, they had the recruiters around there, but me and my brother going to face sick. He got on one end, I got on the other. We going to Air Force.
Right.
And wind up, only two left, my brother and myself, so we was in the Marines, just like that. Wasn't no volunteer stuff. He was just drafted in the Marines.
So if the Air Force guy had been there at the end, it would have been Air Force.
They wanted so many, the people that already picked the places where they would want to go,
Right.
or didn't want to go, something.
Right.
And the Marine had to get the quota they needed two.
And y'all were the two that were left.
Yeah. And we got a pass. Going through boot camp was very good. It was cool.
What time of
And
year was it?
I went in November, right after Thanksgiving,
November 44?
43.
43, okay.
And then we went through boot camp. Well, boot camp was just like the ordinary boot camp, and then after that we went on to leave. You get 2 weeks leave after you get through boot camp.
So where'd you go?
We come back to San Antonio for a couple of weeks, and we got on the train again. But going back to train again, it was a whole lot different because we was in the uniform
Right.
and we was on our own.
Right.
So therefore, we didn't worry about no pass or nothing because all of us was coach,
Right.
and everybody was sitting in the front then. Wasn't no changing seats.
Even in New Orleans, there was no change in seats?
No, all coach. See, when the Marines had it was you had meal tickets.
Right.
We didn't have no meal tickets. You was on your own.
Okay, you just use money.
Yeah.
Okay.
I didn't eat. Or pick up a sandwich somewhere. That's about all.
So did you have the classic dress uniform with the dark blue top and the pants? So you just had the green looking dress?
Green.
Okay.
No. Yeah, green. Gave us green.
So coming out of boot camp, you were private first class? What were you coming out of boot camp?
Private. Everybody come out private.
Nothing on the sleeve?
No, nothing on.
Okay.
Well, you might, if you was lucky, be a sharpshooter. Some of them was sharpshooter that particular day.
Right.
I was sharpshooter the day before the day I was supposed to get a sharpshooter. Me and the sergeant got into it, and I didn't make it.
So the sergeant didn't agree with your shooting?
Yeah, I didn't agree with why I was shooting because I wasn't going to shoot left-handed
Right.
because I had a better eye,
Right.
left eye now.
And he wanted you to shoot right-handed?
Yeah. And well, that didn't make no difference. So come back, you always put in the 5th Ammunition Company. We didn't know. And then we had the drill. First you had to learn how to drill again after you came out of boot camp because most of the time you just walk the mess hall. You didn't have to run the mess hall.
Right.
Well, we had to trot. You had to trot everywhere you went when in boot camp. But out of boot camp, it was lenient, so we didn't have to.
But you had to march from place to place?
Either march or either walk. Well, didn't nobody have no cars back in those days. They had a car, it wasn't no good anyway because you had to stay on the base.
Right.
And we trained for ammunition company. We had to learn the weapons, had to learn all the small arm ammunition, what the Marines had, we had to learn. And then you had to lift the weights,
Right.
because we was going to be on the first wave going in. We was trained for that.
To come in on landing ships and start unloading ammunition?
Yeah. We had mock one time. Exercise.
Military operation?
Yeah,
Okay.
exercise. Well, what we did was supposed to be full of sand. It wasn't. We had empty boxes,
Mm-hmm.
and if you were smart, you wouldn't put too much sand in the box. You pick for every box, you know that wasn't your sand. We put enough just to get by on, and we did that a couple of times, and going through the boondocks and how the ship's gonna go, and practiced over Hawaii a couple of times.
So you went from North Carolina, you got shipped by train over to San Francisco
No, we had to
to go to Hawaii.
to go overseas. All of went to we had to go to Norfolk, Virginia,
Okay.
and you had to travel at night. All troop train had to travel at night.
Mm-hmm.
Had to board at night,
Mm-hmm.
because them days they didn't have no cameras
Right.
like they have now. You see how many people's getting on, and nobody got on the daytime. Soon at nightfall, and they had to load up in one night,
Mm-hmm.
about 2,000 people,
So you load up the train, go over to
or
Norfolk,
maybe more than that, about 4,000 people on the troop train.
and went over to Norfolk, got on a ship.
It went through Panama Canal over to Hawaii, and
Is there any stops from Norfolk to Hawaii, or just straight on through?
straight on through. No, well, it was Panama Canal. You had to stop to let them gates. Wasn't no stopping getting off,
Okay.
because that was wartime.
Right.
And the ships, there was always a group of ships following you. You had to zigzag. It takes a long time. Had to zigzag.
Were they zigzagging once they got in the Pacific?
Yeah, all the time. Guff, because if a torpedo come, it take about 5 minutes for a torpedo couldn't spot you.
Right.
If they was shooting torpedoes out of the submarine, that's what they was afraid of.
Now, that part of 1944, were there any German subs left in the Atlantic?
Well, as a German, we was down in Puerto Rico. We didn't know it, but they said it was scared, but it was really a sub. Same time, we didn't know it until after we got out of service.
Out of what area?
We got out of, the war was over with.
I mean, where was the sub supposed to be?
About a day out of Panama.
Mm-hmm.
But we got to Panama. And maybe people was ready to shoot, but then didn't fire a shot. Then it went off. And
So they didn't shoot at anybody in the...
No.
Okay.
And then went on to Hawaii, and then that's where the invasion for Okinawa started. I think it was over Guam, far east. They took off June the 1st. We landed June the 1st. We had to wait for them to pull out when we landed. And we was a backup if they needed some more Marines.
But Okinawa went okay, and they didn't call you for Okinawa?
No. Well, we was put on the lake. We wasn't really on the lake. We just stand by.
This would have been, what, like June of 44?
That was June of 44.
Okay.
It took them 2 weeks to get over there. It was just like D-Day in Europe was July or June the 1st.
Mm-hmm. It was June 6th, I think it was. So, okay. So
June the
Okinawa-
6th.
Okinawa and D-Day were happening basically at the same time?
Yeah.
Okay.
They pulled out the base at the same time, but
Okay.
they didn't know where it was going. But, later on, mapped out everything.
So back up just a minute to the German submarine. You said it wasn't until after the war
Yeah.
that you found out there was a submarine out there?
Yeah.
What, did the Navy sink it later on that?
No, they didn't. They don't know what happened to the submarine. They knew nothing.
Okay.
It's just in the water. That's
So how
all.
close was it, do you think?
Huh?
How close was it to the convoy, did they say? 1 mile, 10 miles, 20 miles?
It wasn't too far. It wasn't too far, but it just disappeared. They didn't shoot it or nothing, it just disappeared.
So you had like destroyers and whatnot escorting the
Yeah.
convoy? Okay.
We had about a dozen ships. Troop ships and destroyers. Wasn't no battleship, it was just some destroyers.
Mm-hmm.
Wasn't no battleship, because battleship when you go into battle.
Right.
Well, they had big guns, but nobody shoot anything. And same thing with Panama Canal. and then on to Hawaii. That's where we stayed. See, the Fifth Ammunition Company was signed to keep signed. We stayed about 2 months in Camp Callan as casual.
Mm-hmm.
And still got Camp Callan. Say Camp Callan and the thing. That's where all Marines go.
Well, in Honolulu.
Yeah, in Honolulu, right down from Honolulu. And then about 2 more months, we was signed to 3 different islands. Our platoon was signed to 3 different islands during the war years.
So you went from Oahu to Kauai?
No, I went to Kauai, I did. And some of them went to Maui, and others went to the big island called Hawaii Island. Mm-hmm. And that's where we stayed, take care of the Marine ammunition.
So this is like Kauai way before the tourists showed up. This is like a decade. What was it?
It was a Republican. They wasn't no state then.
Right.
It's state now, but they was trying to make it a 48 state or 50 state. That in Alaska got 49 and 50 years later.
So, I mean, Honolulu was a city, so
yeah.
Did you guys go off base at any time in the 2
Yeah,
years?
you could go to base if you... I went to base a few times.
Now, what about Kauai? What was there?
What?
For fun. Was there any fun in Kauai?
Oh, they had a beer junk we used to go to there. Or else you could read a book or...
There was no Honolulu.
Huh?
It wasn't like Honolulu.
No, it wasn't like Honolulu. Honolulu was a city with entertainment. All this one, they had about two beer joints. That's the only thing they had.
In Honolulu?
No, in Kauai.
Okay.
And my way, we didn't go. My way was much up to date island, but being new there, I didn't stay there but a couple of months. And nobody hardly ever went off base because we had games to play or something, or either pitching horseshoes, playing cards.
Was it in the main city in Maui or one of the smaller?
We was stationed. We was attaching by ourselves. We wasn't attaching no big unit. We didn't see no big unit unless you leave your post because we was stationed close to the ammunition dump.
Okay.
We had to guard the ammunition dump.
So how many?
Guard and work in the ammunition dump.
So you were in the fifth company?
5th Marine Ammunition Company.
Okay. Now you were saying earlier that the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th went off to some of the islands.
Yeah.
But you guys were reserved.
Well, we wasn't anxious to go to combat. We was just trying to get out. And we the only one didn't go to combat. They only made 12 before they stopped recruiting blacks. Mm-hmm. They all recruited white. They stopped recruiting blacks for a while.
So after you came in, there were no blacks coming in for a while in the Marines?
Yeah. Because till about 2 years, because they didn't want to send them to Paris Islands, was segregated at that time, and or else you go to Camp Pendleton, which was in close to San Diego.
Right.
And then the reserve, when you got out, wasn't no reserve. All of them segregated.
Right.
A reserve, but you had to be on the standby, and once a year you go to San Diego.
This is after the war?
Yes, after the war.
So you went to San Diego?
No, I didn't.
You weren't in the reserves?
No, I didn't sign up for the reserve.
Okay.
Because you had to go there and act once a month. Then after the war, I went to school.
Okay.
Finished high school and 2 years in college.
So let's get back to Hawaii for a second. You're there. It's late 1944, and you're there from what, like June 44 until the end of the war?
Yeah, end of the war. We left there in the March somewhere.
March of 46?
We left there in February.
The 46?
46.
Okay, but the end of the war, August, right? Germany had already fallen, right? By August 45, Germany, that was over with.
Yeah.
The war was in the Pacific.
What we had to do
August 6th, the day they dropped the bomb, what were you guys doing? What were your orders that day?
our orders was to get ready to go on the next invasion. We had 4 hours. We had 8 hours to pack. You had to be on the ship in the next 4 hours.
Did you know where you're going to be?
Nobody knew where they're going to be.
They just said, we're going to have an invasion, and you're invited.
Yes. And see, our company was on 3 different islands.
Mm-hmm.
And it don't take but well, it take 8 hours to get together because you had 4 hours to be on the ship. Right. You didn't know what ship you was going on.
Right.
You had 4 hours. If you wake up in the middle of the night, you had 4 hours to get where you're going.
So when were you woken up on August 6th?
Huh?
When were you woken up on August 6th?
Well, when we was on the Quarry Islands getting ready.
About what time in the morning was this?
They told us in the daytime sometime.
Okay, daytime August 6th they told you.
Yeah. When they dropped the bomb, they didn't say what it was.
So the orders come through after the bomb was dropped or before the bomb was dropped?
No, they canceled orders after the bomb was dropped.
Okay. So the day the bomb was dropped, you had orders?
No, they canceled it. You know, when it's about a week before Truman signed the document on the Missouri ship in Hawaii. About 2 weeks before then, the war was, officially over as far as fighting is concerned until they signed it.
But the day the bomb was dropped, you got the word, you got 8 hours, you getting all your stuff packed up. Were you on the boat already? Or just
No, we just on the camp, getting ready to load up. Well, see, when they dropped the first bomb, they dropped the second one. That's when you knew you wasn't going nowhere.
But the same day, August 6th, you got orders canceling your movement to the ship, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So how did it come?
Well, they didn't give you no paper. They told you orally.
Okay.
So you can't say you got orders. You don't get no order.
Right.
You get orders orally.
So they say why they canceled? They just said we're canceling and didn't give you an explanation.
No, but we know everybody had radios. I mean, you could listen to the radio.
So here's the
A lot of times you know something on the radio, they wouldn't tell you nothing.
Right. Now the atom bomb, right? When it dropped, you guys knew that there was an atom bomb?
No, nobody knew nothing.
But after the fact, they said we dropped an atom bomb, and did people understand what an atom bomb really meant back then?
No, they didn't know what it meant. They said it's gonna kill a lot of people. That's what they said. But no one knew in the military. They didn't tell nobody.
Right.
Only one knew is people having the searchlights.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if you go down and talk to one of them, they'll tell you.
So how'd they know so much?
Well, see, they had the contact the radio from headquarters.
Right.
See, that was top secret.
Right.
See, they knew. See, they tell you. See, them days you could talk to somebody because they didn't have no transmitter. You know, like they didn't have no like recording machine. Wasn't no recording machine back in them days, unless you was in the military, might record you.
Mm-hmm.
Or somebody listened to you record. Wasn't no recorder. See, see, all the privates stick together. Private PLCs. See, if you were non-commissioned officer, you had a little bit more security.
Mm-hmm.
But
so the searchlight guys, they got the word from headquarters, and the word was what?
Well, they dropped the bomb. They didn't give wasn't no orders given. They just stopped the shipment, and then they was getting ready to send a lot of people over to Japan.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because a lot of people didn't get the word.
Right.
And we had enough points to come home.
So if you didn't have enough points, you might have gone to Japan for the occupation forces?
Yeah, occupation forces. But I didn't go. And nobody volunteered. All the time you were a person, I think 2 people, one person I know he said he's going to stay. And then my brother couldn't get a job, but he went back a year later, and it was different. He got out there and got in the Air Force.
So he finally got into the Air Force after all.
Yeah, because Air Force was taking people, but the Marine was cause discrimination. Some of them, they didn't say they didn't want you, but if you didn't have a good education, kept your head on you right, when you get cussed out and you cuss them back, they gonna kick you out.
But they didn't kick anybody out during the war, only after the war.
Oh, they sent you to brig. You didn't want to go to no brig. Wasn't no promotion there.
Right. So when you say getting back to the ammunition company, so how big was the company? 500, 300, 1,000
No.
people?
Marines kept a little, say, I think about 60 people in a platoon.
Right.
There's 4 platoons make up a
Make up a company?
not 4. Yeah, 4 platoons make. There wasn't no company. It was, what they call it? It's 10 or 12 make up a, Lee had 4. It's about 60 people in a, we was in a platoon. They didn't have, Marines, they kept you separated.
Right.
Not like the Army. You see a whole bunch of them, you didn't see a whole bunch of Marines.
Right.
They kept you separate, especially ammunition companies.
Right.
They kept you, only time you happen to talk to somebody, there'd be truck driver coming up there and get ammunition, always white people.
Mm-hmm.
Wasn't no colored people coming to get ammunition, because that's separated. We was, just like say, close to ammunition dump.
Mm-hmm.
They just made you 60 people, like what we had, they put up them tents.
Mm-hmm.
We stayed in a tent.
Surrounded by ammunition.
Close to ammunition dump.
Okay. So none of those dumps blew up when you were in Hawaii, did they? No accidental fires and...
Yeah, when you were, Navy had one of the best dumps I've ever seen. You got them great big old canyons,
Mm-hmm.
and they cut a hole in that canyon.
Right.
And at one time, first week we went there, one of them holes blowed up, but they never tell you how many people died.
Right. In Hawaii.
In Hawaii. It was a Navy. It wasn't no Marines, it was Navy, because that's where they kept them big bombs like them
Like those 18-inch shells?
18-inch. The biggest one Marine had 155. Yeah, but Navy had them big bombs. It's coming in 3 sections.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have a piece when you had to come in 3 sections. Sometimes 2 sections, most of them 3. The big ones was 3 sections. Then you had to lift them with a crane. You couldn't lift.
Right.
They had to have a crane to lift them things with. And you had to be, what dangerous was, that head,
Mm-hmm.
that had to time the head. You had to know how to do it, but we wasn't that. See, it wasn't Marines. Sorry, that's a Navy person now.
Mm-hmm.
To change their heads. We just.
You mean the fuse? Or?
Yeah, fuse.
Okay.
And that's one to blow it up.
So when the fuse guy comes in, you guys go to the next, go next door?
Oh, we never did handle a 155 because you had to. Wasn't too many Marines. All depending on what anti-craft unit you were with.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't have too many of them. But you never did. They packed them that head. They packed it separate.
Mm-hmm.
They put a carton, about 12 of them, in a carton about some of them about this big.
Right.
They screw it on there. Screw it. You can screw it with a hand, and sometimes you have to have a little wrench. Just like models.
Mm-hmm.
A model was dangerous. First time we had the model was 5 seconds. A lot of times the Japanese knew it, they would throw it back. That was coming. They had to change all those heads and put it 3 seconds.
Right.
3 seconds. You had 3 seconds. When you pull that thing, you had 3 seconds.
Right.
If you turn it loose, you turn that pin loose, you had 3 seconds to get rid of it. We changed a lot of that. I thought somebody was going to get killed, but we didn't.
So you were changing the fuses from 5-second fuses to 3-second fuses?
Yeah.
So these are individual grenades?
Yeah.
So you're like sitting there all day long messing with the grenades, changing the fuses?
Yeah, they had so many. A couple of days we did. We didn't do it all the time.
Nobody messed up and actually blew themselves up? Huh?
No.
Okay.
No, then we changed the whole head, then pull the pin out.
Okay. This was like unscrew it and screw the other one back in.
Yeah, screw the other one back in. And that was most things we had. And then you had to know how to, they teach you how to handle that ammunition, what point to hit, how to lay them boxes down, all that.
So speaking of Japanese, were there any Japanese prisoners in...
No, they have no Japanese prison in Hawaii. They shipped to all the United States. Wasn't no prisoner. Didn't see no prisoner. You didn't hear about no prisoner in Hawaii. I was on 3 islands. You didn't see no prisoner.
So how many people you know who were in the unit went back to Hawaii to live after all this?
Nobody. Well, Hawaii wasn't. It wasn't a state then like it is now. You had to have a passport to go over there.
Oh yeah.
Something, because it wasn't a state.
Right.
It's just like Puerto Rico.
Mm-hmm.
So you got to have a passport or something to go over there.
So, getting back to the books that you read, there was like 2 of the books you had here about the Montford Point Marines. Anything new in there that you suspected but never knew until you saw it written?
The only thing I didn't know what happened to the rest of the ammunition company, because they had a depot company, but I'm not familiar with the depot company. The depot company was people to supply all other supplies. We just on the ammunition part, and to go by companies. Well, senior companies supposed to move up to combat. And we skipped that. We're the only one to skip that combat.
So your number was up, but you didn't go to combat?
Yes. 5 didn't go to combat. Ammunition, 5th ammunition didn't go. 12 and 11, 10th. Then another didn't go. I think it's 8. They said 5. 7 out of 12 went to combat.
And 5 out of 12 didn't?
Yeah. They split some of them up. Some of them went and some of them didn't. We don't know where they went to. But that book got the best detail I ever seen.
Yeah.
And they got the ones that are like depot company. See, we come in, 5th Ammunition Company's already made up. Wasn't no promotion. They had already picked the 8th. NCO's going to be. PFC's going to be NCO. Right. They picked first went with Buck Sergeant. They picked the Buck Sergeant. And he was a squad. It wasn't a company. The company had to have four squads. I forgot what it is. I got to look it back in the book. Then we had trouble promoting. See, we started all staffs, NCOs was white, and we got rid of a first sergeant and something else. First sergeant and a couple of what you call platoon sergeants, and that's that the war ended. See, they was white. They left that soon. We left for. Soon we got coming home, they split everybody up. White people went one way, colored people went another.
So the ones that the black ones who were picked to be black sergeants, were they like college educated? Were they Army officers?
No, they happened to be at the right spot at the right time. Okay. Well, they had some college people because we had a corporal there. He didn't want to go to OTS. Well, he didn't want to go. No, he just wanted to get out and teach.
Right.
And then we had some. None of them wanted. Wasn't OTS to say you was going, but you had to be a college graduate to go to OTS in the Marines because it was so many ahead of you.
Right.
See, like for instance, Brewer in San Antonio, we talk. They only picked top NCOs to go to OTS, and when they went there, it was over with, just about over with. 'Cause no Marine officer got the deal in World War II. They didn't have no command.
No black officer.
No black officer. But later on, they got up to be a general. I'll say, highest one got to be a major general.
Now, the one who was in San Antonio, Brewer, who was a colonel, was he in the Montford Point Marines the same era you were, or he came afterwards?
Oh, he came first. He was among the first people in San Antonio going to Marines. He come out of, he had 2 years in Tuskegee.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they farmed back along the 99th Pursuit Squad. See, he know a lot of them people there from Tuskegee.
But he went to the Marines and didn't go into the airman side of it.
No, he went to the Marines. Volunteered the Marines.
And so he was there a couple of years ago.
His father was my teacher.
Okay. In high school?
Yeah.
Okay.
He was a woodwork teacher.
So he was in the Marines a year or two before you?
Yeah, about 2 years before then.
Did he go into combat, or was he?
Yeah, he was the one to come. Well, they relieved what 51st Defense Battalion, which is just like the 99th Pursuit Squadron for the Air Force.
Right.
They went down to South Pacific.
Mm-hmm.
They relieved them gunners in South Pacific, like New Guinea.
Right.
Back on Southern Islands, you know, back there they had a chain of islands. They didn't say what you was on. They was taking care of them. And then the 52nd, which they got on the tail end of it, those are only two fighting units outside of ammunition companies and depot companies. They wasn't considered fighting. They was back on the back,
Right.
like clothes and food,
Mm-hmm.
all that. They was
further off in the Pacific somewhere.
see, but the ammunition company was gonna be right on the front line.
Mm-hmm.
See, right, but they're supposed to be but the second wave is supposed to see riflemen supposed to go in first, ammunition company right behind them, and then the guns, Navy guns, supposed to be shooting over you. Had them big Navy guns like 40 millimeter, 6 millimeter. They was been shooting over you, so you didn't have a chance to do anything. That's what scheduled to do when we didn't see none of it.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't lose no money, so I didn't worry about it. I was thinking about getting home.
So, did you ever go through when the military training exercises? Do they have live fire exercises where they actually had real life shells and training, or
They said they did, but you hate to take a chance because another fire or anything.
Mm-hmm.
See, but you see, a lot of them supposed to been blanks,
Mm-hmm.
and nobody want to shoot a blank in the pistol rifle because rifle is hard to clean.
Right.
When you shoot them blanks, it's nothing but put nothing but powder in that gun.
Right. So you'd rather shoot a real bullet than a blank.
Yeah.
Okay.
Some of them might shoot a real bullet to clean it out.
So a little bit more on Brewer. After the war, he went to OTS.
He went to Purdue.
Okay, so he went back and finished his college degree, became an officer, and then went back into the Marines.
No, he didn't go. He was a reserve. He never did go in the Marines.
Okay.
Period. He was. After that, he got to be a engineer at a naval shipyard in Philadelphia.
Okay.
Then after they left Navy shipyard, they come back to San Antonio when they at a school, $800 million they put in San Antonio schools,
Mm-hmm.
make them larger like they're doing now.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't know what it was all about, but he was one of those engineers for the school. Anytime they built something, they had to get him.
Okay.
He was one of them.
All right.
He didn't draw the plans, nothing, but that's where he was. He had a good job. We after he left Philadelphia, come here. He's the first one to make a full colonel. That's what the paper said.
Yeah. But he was a reservist?
Yeah, reservist. Not in the regular range, reserve. I think he had a good job, engineer with in Philadelphia shipyard.
Right. I know he had at least the one daughter. I don't know if he had any other children.
Oh, he had 2 or 3 kids because he lived on right down Texas State Bank. We used to see him in the grocery store, but he's old and feeble now. I don't think he drives a car. He's about 5 years older than me. How old is he? He's 1, 2, 3 or 4 years older than me. He and Emery was the same class.
Okay. At Wheatley?
Yeah. Because he had 2 kids, Brewer had 2 kids, all them school teachers.
Mm-hmm.
His mother was a teacher in the San Antonio school, and he was a teacher too. That's about the best you can do in San Antonio without being a principal.
Mm-hmm.
When you get to be a principal, you didn't move around, you stayed there till you retired. Until they started making that, school district. Some of them went to school district later on. But people old as me didn't have that opportunity.
So now that it's been, 60 years since the war's ended? 64 years. Yeah, 64 years. Do you think Montford Point Marines are getting the kind of media attention they should get, or they haven't gotten enough of it yet?
Well, according to the book, they're getting just as much as I could have. I'm surprised the president got all that book. That's what I want to know. What went to him? Because I don't know what the... See, they made about 50 depot.
Mm-hmm.
See, it was about... Just like I say, it was a... Company had to have 4 platoons per company. Hey, when we going?
Well, let's see, it's 12:17 now. We should be at the airport an hour from now.
Well,
We'll leave in about half an hour. So let me end this here. In 2012, many of the surviving Montford Point Marines, including Calvin Curtis, were presented with a Congressional Gold Medal in recognition of their role as the first African Americans to serve in the modern-day Marine Corps. Colonel Brewer died in January 2012, and Calvin Curtis passed away in February 2013.